What's going on, guys? So this is being filmed at 5 a.m. This is how the Meijin would actually do an Exia, and this is Master Grade Monday. So let's get to it. Alright, guys. So let's take a look at the amazing Exia that we unboxed last week on Master Grade Monday. So take a closer look at the box because I can't remember if I did it last time. So we got MG Master Grade Build Fighters up here. Some really awesome artwork of the amazing Exia. I do believe this is more or less a photo of the kit itself, just kind of stylized and stuff like that. And you got what looked to be the space battle between it and the Build Strike. It would be awesome if you had some Build Strike artwork that showed them about to clash. That would be awesome. So you've got Gundam Amazing Exia downside here, PPGN 001, and then of course all the stuff here for Kawaguchi custom made mobile suit. Coming close, and you've got Bandai 2015. Didn't want to zoom in there. And realistically, you've got a P-Bandai box. Some very nice close-up work there. And you got BandaiHobby.net. It's still a very heavy box. And then all the nice repeated box stuff. Okay. So we've got all the obligatory warnings there. Probably ages 15 and up. Little dude with the toilet. All kinds of stuff you cannot read. And then 5,000 yen. It was not 5,000 yen. And the box is upside down. P-Bandai box reviews are easy. So let's go ahead and get the Exia out here and take a look at it. Oh, wait. Sorry. I forgot we have a build montage this time. I forgot how that goes. So, build montage. Alright guys, so now we got that build montage done. I know it's been a while, it's a little weird. But now we have the amazing Exia out here. And this thing, well, it put me through the ringer a little bit this week. It's a pretty involved build. Took me roughly over 4.5 days to get it done. You know, usually at 4 or 5 hour sit downs. So, I mean, it looks really, really awesome. Let's go ahead and get all the accessories and stuff out of the way first, because it's something that this guy has plenty of. First and foremost, pretty much one of the first things you build in the set, the GN drive. So this is a basic, normal Exia GN drive, like you would get from any of the Exia 00 kits. And if you had two LEDs, you would totally put them inside there. Now, of course, compared to some of the other ones, you do just get clear lenses, front and rear, and of course, the clear carrying holder base thingy. Because actually, if you go back and watch 00, they were actually transporting GN drives in these things. So that's where they come from, in case you ever wondered. Of course, this thing doesn't really serve any purpose for this kit because the actual core is different from a standard Exia. But if you were to swap that out, it's entirely possible that you could end up with a Exia with a light up head, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Now we'll go with pretty much his primary weapon, what is essentially a GN Sword 3, but adapted for the Meijin. And of course, this is based off of the R3, I believe, so you got the nice green blade here. And instead of the bigger kind of shield that normal Exia has, this is the amazing Exia's version, which is actually fairly well different from the Dark Matter. Dark Matter has a much bigger thing going on here. We'll look at the comparison here in a bit, but you have the same kind of actual GN beam weapon right there, and it does still accordion out just like so. Gotta make sure you don't lose that socket. It's very tight. And of course, if you wanted to hold it, it will just plug into the hand just like any other. Now guys, I will tell you right up front, I have issues with this hand. One of the first time this guy fell over, it actually popped the hand right off the wrist joint, and it has been loose ever since. So that is potentially going to give me a problem for the rest of its existence. Okay, so plug that in there. Get your fingers all oriented. Then we got to move this just a little and plug that into the forearm like you do with any true Exia, because that is, of course, how the weapon itself gets powered from the suit. Push that up there, and then you have a very good looking GN sword. And of course, you can flip it out, and that's that. That is just really, really pretty. Now, of course, the Dark Matter got rid of this particular setup because he didn't have the flip out sword effect for that. He actually adapted this blade to being a regular sword. And you guys will see one major problem with this kit. There we go. I'll go ahead and prop him up. Now we'll take a look at this, which I'm going to be honest, I don't know what it's called. I know it's a shield, sort of, but it's also basically a crossbow, because the instructions I don't think actually tell you the name. I'll have to look it up. But basically, you get the big GN kind of greenness going on there. And in place of the normal shield, which it's a fairly similar shape, but you also have that part come out, and I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a beam weapon of some sort. Now I added a little bit of paint, and you'll see throughout all this guy I've added a little bit of paint. So you got some gray going on here, here, all over it, just to break up some of the white and blue. I actually kind of prefer this in its straight up shield mode, and it does just plug into the forearm in the same manner. Come on, elbow work. There we go. So there you have that. Okay, after a quick look, it is literally just called the Amazing GN Shield, so that totally makes sense. Alright, so we're going to take a look at his other GN sword, because he has plenty of GN swords. And one thing you guys will notice is that this is a lovely shade of silver, which it is not meant to be. So realistically, it comes in all gray. So even this main blade and all of this is meant to be gray. So I just hit that with a quick coat of my favorite silvers. There's actually two different silvers on there, but they don't really come across. Because what I tried to do was the center part of the blade, one silver, and the outside of the blade, a different silver. One thing I love is just that kind of image right there when you catch the light just right. And you see the difference of that beveled edge. I really do like that. It just adds so much more to it because realistically they didn't. So, and if you really wanted to do it, you could actually put this blade on the normal GN sword just as the Repair 2 or even the standard Exia would have. Now, this is just nice looking, just like the one that the, or at least one of the ones that the Dark Matter comes with. You've got the kind of guard blades that come out just like so. You've got the handle that he can totally just hold. Where's the peg? Blind stabbing the hand peg. Always fun. That's there somewhere. There we go. Like so. Put those down just a little. And it is a little bit of a heavy blade, so I'm not going to lie about it. Okay, take a quick look at tiny little machine here. Yeah, I didn't paint it on, but I could if I want to. There we go. Sort of focusing. There we go. So I like the fact that they gave you a new machine versus the embody one that you got with the Dark Matter. I always thought that was pretty cool. I'm not really going to do anything with it, but I might actually paint it up here in a little bit. Now we do get a couple of small GN swords that you get with the normal Exia. And once again, these blades were not meant to be this color. So once again, hit these with some nice silver paint. Now one thing I did do on this, because the way they're constructed, they're like super light hollow blades, I just cut them off the runner just a little bit, like up here where the nubs would be. Cleared away the nubs or the leftover bits of runner, and then went ahead and sprayed it on the runner and let it dry, and then cut it off because I knew that I was going to have a hard time holding such thin, flimsy bits just to paint them. But I think they came out really, really well. I don't even think you would know that those weren't supposed to be that way if you didn't look closely. Now, my biggest problem with these, there's no storage for them. The normal Exia would store them on the hips. So you would have the little hip bits right here that came out with the tiny little flip out ball joints, and that would be how those attach. Unfortunately, this one doesn't do that, or at least it doesn't do that yet, because I still need the connector for this guy. I'm going to leave it on the right or the left hip like you're supposed to have. On the right hip, I think I'm going to add at least one ball joint thingy for these to mount so he can at least store them, because what he actually needs is more weapons hanging off of them. And he can hold on to them in the same way he holds on to any other sword, just using that little slot in the handle, and it would tab in just like any of the other weapons do. I don't really want to show that off right now, but you guys can use your imaginations. So just I really do like these blades. These might actually end up with my regular Exia. We'll see what happens. Set those off to the side. Now he also comes with beam sabers, which I don't recall if he actually did use these or not, but they were part of the kit. It actually tells you to do these, unlike with Dark Matter. And of course, you use the beam saber blades just as normal. So you've got the long one, and you've got the short one. Now it does come with extra blades as usual, because Exia normally has 4 beam sabers. Once again, no storage for this, but you do get the little hinged tabs that these guys will connect to on a standard Exia. I'm going to find a way to attach those. In fact, I might actually find a way to use the normal Exia's back skirts to some degree, so I can actually hang those off the back like they're supposed to be. Or the regular shoulders, I believe they would connect somewhere right through here, or maybe on the back of the shoulder armor itself. I'm not entirely certain. I'll have to look at the standard Exia to figure it out. But I like the fact that they at least give you those. Now, if I remember correctly, yes, I do remember correctly. If you guys are wondering why he's still holding that weapon the way that is so he doesn't fall over. And we'll talk about that when we get to the rest of the suit. You do still have this ability right here to have that blade right in there. And that just pops right out. Now, one thing you guys are probably wondering is, where is his main accessory? And that is off to the side, right over here. Now let me push Exia itself over here and hope for the best. And already failing at hoping for the best. So let's pull that sword out of his hand. That'll probably make it easier. Yep. And here we have the Trans Am booster, which is way too high. So the cool thing is, the Trans Am booster is very, very pretty. It is also very, very big, just as the Dark Matter booster was. They're literally the same thing. But one thing I didn't do with the Dark Matter was show it off on the stand, because I couldn't find the adapter. So you do get this nice little adapter here that you just plug in like so. And then you have the Dark Matter booster, or the Trans Am booster. One way or the other, it works. Alright, so you can see you've got the green eyes instead of the copper. Same thing with the main camera right through there. There's also a beam emitter, apparently. Now, I did do some paint detail work here, and you'll see I've got some of my favorites dark gray ever right through here, or this would be solid white except for the eyes. Now, back here, this is the part that plugs into the backpack. Got some more of the gray right through there. You guys can see it has the nice decals all over here. They were pretty much exactly the same as the Dark Matters. Do also have some gray done on these little wing blades here. Got that all along there. And these swords right here, which are actually just called the Trans Am GN swords. This would just be one long piece of uninterrupted blue. So I added all this gray paint tracing all here and a couple little dabs of silver just to add some personality to it. I also did this little spot of gray right through there. And then back here, right on the GN drive, literally just a little bit of gray right there to break up all the blue. Same thing right in here with these little spots. Now, to get it to where it goes on the actual Exia, go ahead and close everything up, more or less. I'm hitting the camera with that huge sword. You, of course, take the head and you flop it out like so. Tuck everything back. It'll tab in place just a little bit right through there. And then you knock the shield off the arm, because that's what you do. And you plug it right on in, like so. And there you have a big floppy mess. I'll go ahead and get this cleaned up and we'll come right back. Alright guys, so now that's done. Whew. Guys, I'll tell you guys one thing. Before we go too much further. This thing, probably the worst ankles out of any Exia I've built. And I say that because they've progressively gotten looser as time has gone on. This thing has legitimately been finished since yesterday, which was Sunday. The actual build was done Saturday night. Like, physically actually finished building the details and stickers and stuff was Sunday. Ever since it's been completed, the ankles are getting looser and looser. You occasionally can find like a very perfect balance like he's got going right now. But if I swap in another sword, or maybe even the shield, it may not hold that balance. Now hold on. One specific problem we have here is that the shield's bulk will definitely interfere with the backpack. So you got to do it. So the way that's just kind of neutrally balanced, that's good. But it really, really does not like to stand at all. Dark Matter has its problems, but it can stand, I would say, slightly better than this one. But I don't know, it's an Exia. Realistically, you'd never quite know when the ankles are going to give out. So there, now I can show off that he holds that sword. Not very well, because he just dropped it, but there we go. Actually, that's pretty good. Let's see here. Let's get a picture. Just real quick of that. That's good looking. So you guys can tell this thing is essentially just straight up recolor of the dark matter, but it does actually have a few differences. The V-fin is actually closer to a standard Exia, but with some extra bits. The lack of the face mask is of course a big deal. The weapons, of course, as we've looked, are different, so he loses these more elegant, cleaner swords for the big the fire sword and the ice sword. Of course, this shield doesn't even exist for the dark matter, so just gonna go ahead and strip it down just a little bit, make it a little bit easier to handle. Now we'll show off some of the things that I've done. Hold on, I gotta bring the light down so we can actually see what's going on. So I've added some gray detailing, so right through here on the chest, all these little highlighted areas. This one needed to be thinned out a little bit, so it's got a little bit of schmutz going on right there. And of course the chest does open up the same way. I really do dig that. Now I actually showed this off in the live stream if anybody was watching it. The actual hinges right there are actually made from translucent plastic, so realistically, if you do light the chest, it's entirely possible that you would see a green glow coming through the vents right there. Now, a few other places I've added some detail work right in here. Got some more gray there, got some more gray right through there. Actually, up here on the shoulders, I did a tiny little bit of etching. So this is a normal line. This line here, I did that with just a dull X-Acto knife that the tip had broken off. So just scratched in a really nice seam line and actually sanded it with a file, with the edge of a file, so it actually got to the point that the paint stopped right at that edge. Did it on both sides just to add a little bit of effect to it. I did only do it to the one side. Didn't bother doing it to the back side. Now, another thing I did just for fun, I showed this off on the live stream, right there at the little G and Vulcans that are on the arms. I cut a tiny bit of the green reflective bit and put it right there. Though realistically, see this little blue bit on the hand? That was supposed to go there. No. Awesome green metallic, so it stands out that that is in fact a weapon. I do really dig that. Now, one other part I did down here on the knee armor, added just that little bit of gray and that tiny bit of silver, and of course that slides right up in there, but it gets rid of the sea of blue. That's one thing I really didn't like about this kit. It does lack a little bit of color separation. But, I mean, I guess realistically it's the same as dark matter, but in dark matter it's all gray and red, or black and red, so I guess I was a little bit more accepting of it. I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, up here on the head. I forgot. Right there. A little bit of the dark gray. Right above the eyes was probably unnecessary, but I like the one right through there. Now, I'm not going to bother showing off articulation. We've already seen everything it can do, but that's why I wanted to mention that the ankles are very floppy. Now, I'm going to show you guys something that's kind of funny. Hold on, let me stand them up a little straighter, because that's when it really starts having issues. Now, actually, you've got a compound ankle joint right there that was completely coming apart. And actually, I believe the foot joint itself was coming apart right there, because now it doesn't want to do its job properly. I know something came apart. I felt it right through there. So I'm going to hold the feet down, and you just watch. Yeah. That's how weak the ankles were. It won't even hold itself up. That's due to the fact that you've got a ball joint here and a ball joint here. This ball joint is realistically the problem. The bottom ankle, actually, or the bottom of the ankle, is actually not terrible. But this one is where all the weakness comes from. You can see it just moves back and forth. Combine that with this toe pivot that is super weak. As soon as this goes, the whole thing just wants to fall over forward. And I'm telling you, I can feel something is not happy in this foot now after I've pivoted things. I think the polycaps inside it actually shifted and probably need to be redone. So I'm going to tell you guys right now what I'm going to do with this kit is I'm going to take this foot apart. I'm going to glue all of the joints for the foot solid, so it is one flat foot. We're going old school style, and see if it will actually hold itself up. If that doesn't work, I'll also brace up the ankle at the top, because I don't want this thing toppling over every 5 seconds, and I don't want to have to put it on a display base if I don't want to, although you totally can, because it does actually come with the proper crotch grabber And because the thing was with the dark matter, I didn't have the proper one, I don't think, or didn't want to sit. But one thing that these tend to have a problem doing is sitting up straight. They always want to rock back a little bit. And you can't even see what's going on because we're way up here now. But if you want to put it on a display base, you can. Though I will recommend that the crotch peggy, if you're going to leave it on the stand, glue the stand to the crotch, because it will just pop off and roll backwards. It's not the greatest connection, and this is before they figured out, hey, if I plugged it into the backpack, that would actually be a good thing. It could hold up its weight from the backpack. So if it actually had a clip that went right here instead, that would have made way more sense. But this actually gives us a chance to do a quick walk around. And of course, if you want to, you can totally open up the GN drive. And if you really want to, you can, in fact, yank the GN drive out, pull off the legs, so to speak, as it did in the show, and you can plug that straight back into the back of the Exia. And of course, this thing will take an LED, so you just slap it right inside the little egg there. And which way does it go? Because it only plugs in one way. That way. Now, of course, for comparison, scooch it over, and we'll bring in the normal Exia, so you guys can see how much taller it is. That is weird. It looks like it's a little bit taller. Probably just due to how the stands are. But you guys can see, like, this is based off the R2 and bigger because you don't have these kind of thighs. Now, it does come with these thighs, but you don't have the cool clear plastic bits that go over that. And you guys can see here how the swords mount back here on the side skirts. Like so. But that also, you know what, the way these are, I might not go with that. But I could probably adapt these little shoulder parts to this guy. They're probably similar enough. But you can see the differences in the weapons. But of course, it's really cool that we get this kind of option. And if you're crazy enough, if you wanted to go ahead and put together essentially this Exia, but with, like, say, the Trans Am booster, I think that would actually be pretty neat. Now, mind you, of course, I've added some paint work to my Exia that makes it a little bit different, but that's neither here nor there. But literally, you could build a standard Exia with everything you get from this kit. Just remember that. But if you wanted to leave the torso as the amazing version, so you can add the Trans Am booster, you totally can. And just, I forgot to mention this earlier in accessories, you do actually get the adapters, so you could actually plug this thing, flip this over, into other Build Fighters kits. More specifically, you could use this on a Strike, because this is the Striker Pack adapter right there, but you kind of need the combination. No, actually, I take it back. This is an adapter for something else to plug into this guy. There's a weird looking brick thingy that actually will allow you to plug different backpacks in. And I don't have that on me right now, but that's okay. And of course, the comparison we were all here to see. The dark matter. The thing that matters. Yeah, pun totally intended. Now, of course, due to Exia ankles, we might have a huge collision here. So, just side by side, you can see all the similarities, but you can also see a lot of the differences. Now, the chest and everything right in here is exactly the same. Let's try that from a lower angle. So, the chest parts are the same. The shoulder parts are all the same. All the main construction on this guy is pretty much identical. But like I said, you get to the V-fin, and you've got this one, which is a little bit shorter, a little more menacing. The ears themselves are actually more like demonic. This is more standard Exia type ears. You see that. V-fin, of course I said that. Now, the weapon here, I said that was totally different. Of course, it says DM, whereas on this guy, it's AM, because they're going with amazing. So you can see the major kind of differences there. This is, in fact, a little bit bigger. And like I said, you lose the blade part. But, of course, you add in the other bits, and it's a little bit different. You, of course, don't have any kind of shield on that side, whereas you get the amazing shield there. Stand them face to face. It's actually very cool. But as previously stated, I'm doing my best to make sure neither of them just topples over for any particular reason. Now this one does have very, very bad ankles as well. Now I was hoping to have these kind of a back-to-back display, but that's going to be pretty difficult to do. In fact, I'm not entirely certain this guy is going to fit in the current display I have. But these two, side by side, are awesome. I like the two different sides of the coin here. So you've got the very evil dark matter and the very pure and good amazing. And of course, this guy is not wanting to cooperate. Does not want to stand. And one other major difference is, I can't see it on camera here, but the toes. This one has the very spiky toe pauldrons, and this one just has normal Exia toes. There we go. Now they're holding themselves up. Barely. But that's going to be it for this review, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you've been slightly inspired. Oh, dear Lord. Okay, the swords are catching it. That's good. We'll just leave it like that. These are probably going to end up on a display stand, and I'm going to glue the feet. Now, this guy was very expensive. If you can find it secondary by eBay or Amazon or whatever, it's probably still going to be over $100, so probably about 110 to 130, depending on where you're getting it from. Of course, this is not that expensive. I think this is in the 60, 65 range. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I paid for it. But considering the sheer amount of plastic you get with both of these kits, the fact that you could build a black and red normal Exia or Exia repair with this is pretty awesome. The fact that you can build a blue and white version of this guy from this is actually pretty awesome. So, you know, if you have this kit, you could realistically go through every year or so, swap out parts for a different Exia, you know, and just change it up every now and then. You really, really could. Now, I didn't point out the fact that, you know, he does, of course, have the extra swords back there on the backpack. It is what it is. If you want to go see a lot of the details I skipped on this one, it's because they were on this kit. Go watch the Dark Matter Exia review. If you haven't, I'll hopefully have that linked at the end. There's a whole lot of cool here, and there's a whole lot of, oh my god, it's going to fall over. That's the biggest problem with these, is the oh my god, it's going to fall over part. Because if it wasn't for the swords catching this guy, he would definitely just continue to fall over. And here, now he's trying to take the amazing Exia with him. There we go. God, so bad sometimes. I love it, it's just so bad. But guys, that's going to be it. I always want to thank my patrons, as always. Andy, John, you guys are great. If you guys don't know about the Patreon, it's going to be right here. So, you know, you can go over there and check out all kinds of fun little stuff I do over there. Along with getting stuff early, the ability to pick your own pick, which, Andy, this was one of your picks for the month. You wanted to see this comparison right here, in fact. So he got his wish. So if you guys actually want to be able to pick what I build, either out of my backlog or out of my collection, go over to the Patreon, donate a little bit, and you can have that power to actually influence my channel a little bit. But I'll catch you guys on the next one, and remember, as always, gunplay is freedom. Yeah. See you later.